guys got a short week here in some respect because we have to get on the road playing this Hawaii, and I think Hawaii's got some really outstanding players. Offensively, they got two great receivers, a real big receiver, and two active running backs, and a quarterback that can beat you with his feet and obviously his arm. They're athletic, and they're throwing the ball, for a fair amount of yards, and so they've done a great job offensively. They're potent on defense. Got some key players. Their Will Backer, Darius Musaw, probably mispronounced his name, Corey Bethley, and Cortez Davis to corner. So they've got some good players on defense. They're stout interiorly, and obviously we've got a long way to travel to get there, and we've got to make sure that we have got a great mindset and have a great week of preparation, and really try to get back on track here, play defense the way we know we're capable of playing, and get going offensively and being explosive. So looking forward to the week. Can't wait for practice tomorrow. Questions?
When you look at their numbers, they don't rank high anywhere, but when you look at the way they played at home, they beat a ranked Fresno State team. They took San Diego State to the wire. What's different about them at home?
I mean, it's the obvious. It's a long trip for people to go out there. And, that's an incredible home field advantage. But then on the flip side of it, I'm imagining it's pretty tough on them to have to travel to away games. I've heard someone said they stay a night in California and then they move on from there. I mean, it's hard. It's hard on them going away, and it's hard on teams going to them. And that's obvious. They play better at home. I mean, they're comfortable in their arena at home. They're in a temporary site. Everything about it's temporary. So it gives them a great home field advantage. But, of course, the flip side of it is it's tough on them when they have to travel far away. It hasn't gone as well for them.
What are the steps that you take once you get the team to Hawaii to acclimate to the time change, to kind of get them on their bottom of that schedule?
Well, we're going a day early. The thought is get our heavy work day Tuesday, Wednesday in here in our environment where we're comfortable. And then our non-padded spider day will be out there. Thought being that, okay, for us, it's going to be a 9.5-hour travel. I'm not saying total, just in the plane alone. And so, let's get there Wednesday. Let's see if we can get there at night, go to bed, get a good night's sleep, shake that out a little bit, and then give a couple of days to acclimate. We'll see how that works out. As opposed to trying to take 9.5 hours and then play the next day. I would think that would be hard, so I don't know what the alternative is, especially from the distance we're coming and the way we have to do it. We can't take a nonstop flight. We've got to go stop somewhere for 90 minutes and stay on the plane and refuel, so that adds to it. So I think it's 2.5 to Oakland. It's 5.5 from there. That's 8, and then an hour. It's a 90-minute refuel where you can't leave the plane. So that's a lot of hours, man. I mean, I've traveled over to Ireland to play, but from Boston to Ireland is not even that. It's not 9 hours. I mean, this becomes, to me, we're making it even harder, right? Because we're adding an hour and a half onto an already long trip. But it is what it is. As I said, I think I said after the game, I'm even more concerned when you come back. You land at 11 o'clock on a Sunday. I mean, coaches haven't been to bed, and now you got a work day ahead of you. I mean, and what's that going to look like at the end of the year? Personally, I think for us this far away, we should be able to play them earlier in the year and have a bye week after that. I think that's fair. But I don't know what's fair, I guess. I mean, they've probably got their own concerns. None of it's probably great.
Does that add some trickiness just with injured guys, both in their rehab and everything, and figuring out how ready they will be available?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because I'm not interested in taking guys that can't play. But there'll be some guys, I'm guessing, per usual, where we won't really exactly know by the time we have to take off. And then, that amount of time on a plane and on the air doesn't help guys that have swelling and stuff like that, because that's some of the reasons some of the injured guys, they don't, not that I would take them right now, but they're concerned about swelling and things like that and the altitude in the plane. So anyways, it's all in there. I really don't, and this isn't directed at you guys, this is at me. I don't even really want to think about it because it's not relevant. That's what we're doing. So, I'm just really more focused today on what we need to do to get ready to play the game schematically, both sides of the ball, special teams. I just got a lot going on today. I can't get too caught up in all that nonsense. It is what it is. Can't change it. So we just got to find a way, like everything else in football, you find a way to scale these things, these adversities that creep up. Our bigger adversity is at linebacker right now. We haven't solved that. That's the immediate threat to me right now that I feel that, we've had 2 weeks in a row now where we can't operate at the level that we're accustomed to operating at, and our output is not very good because of it. And we've got to, I can't, just plug and get on the waiver wire here. So we're trying to really work through what we need to do schematically to adjust for this right now, and where we really are. I don't think anybody really understands how big a deal that is right now.
And offensively, it looked like Toddy was more apt to keep the ball on RPO type plays this past week. Was that just what Air Force was doing, or is that something that he's trying to take more advantage of his ability to move?
Yeah, no, I mean, these plays we run are all read plays. Whether we're reading a linebacker or a defensive end or whatever, it's everything everybody else does. It's just predicated on how they play. Yeah, it's nothing more or less than that.
Is that something you'd like to see him do, because it seemed like it really helped you move sticks in this game?
I mean, it's a piece of what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be a little careful with this stuff right now. We got one veteran player here. We don't have another one. We got a freshman who I like, but he's a freshman. So if would we have run more of these types of things had we had more depth there? Had we not had Matt tear his ACL? Yeah, probably. But now, I'm not saying we don't, we do it. But how much do we do it? I mean, we don't do it a ton. He's taking shots. He took some shots in that game. I mean, so we got to weigh all, we have quietly had a massive amount of injuries. Quietly. Starting with, Aaron Moore in spring football, which we lost for this whole season. Was one of our best defenders. And then, not least then, our corner, that was going to be a projected starter that we lost for the season, not counting the offensive linemen that we lost for the season. Now we've lost linebackers for the season. I mean, I think we've gotten our share, as many as I can ever remember. So, we've been ravaged a little bit. And it's had an impact on us. And we've quietly, I don't make big deal about these things. I don't make excuses about them. We just kind of keep rolling, right? This last one with the linebacker thing, it's a bit much. It's had a direct impact. It's hard to, you just can't invent somebody and put them over there and think you're going to function at any kind of real level. Especially when you're talking about the interior of your defense. It's a lot. So that doesn't mean you're not going to get it solved, but it's creating a lot of disruption right now. We'll see. So these things, they question about the quarterback. I mean, I don't need to add that into the mix right now. Stuff happens. I mean, who knows, right? But you don't need to increase your odds.
Obviously, some of this is being forced on you with injuries of getting some young guys in, but as we get to the final couple weeks here, obviously you can't make a bowl. Is there any thought of that, of trying to sprinkle in some young guys some more? Just to have that progression?
Yeah. We've been doing that.
Right.
I mean, we don't have much of
Does it go up at all?
we don't have much of a middle ground here, right? I mean, we've got young guys and we've got old guys. We don't really have that. There's a missing middle ground here. Okay, so we've been, trying to fill that middle ground in with a few transfers here and there, and some of these young players. I mean, we're playing a fair amount of them right now, and we will probably play a couple of more in the next 2 weeks. I mean, a guy like Tanner Arkin, you could see matriculating into the game more. Jarek Robinson's a guy you could see matriculating into the game more. You could see on defense a Grady Kelly matriculating into the game. A McKindy or a Clay Yankee or you could see these guys make their way in. You could see Alex Burrow at tailback maybe make his way into the game a little bit. You could see George Mickey Hahn maybe making his way into the game. I'm just saying, that's the kind of stuff you're asking, and you could see that. I think for sure, that could happen. You've seen Malachi Grant on special teams. And then some sophomores that hadn't played yet. I mean, last season isn't really a season. It was 4 abrupt games. So, when you see Ty Marks in there, that's, it's a pretty young guy. So, yeah, I think you see more of that.
Two of the guys that have played a lot of that are young, Robert Floyd, Jack Howell.
Forgot about Robert Floyd.
They just seem to keep getting better and better each week. The more pressure you throw at them, have you liked their reaction to taking on more of a role?
Okay, so Robert Floyd and Jack Howell are going to be 2 fabulous players, right? They're legitimate players. Henry Blackman's been hurt most of the season, but he certainly had a great start last year. And Taiwan has really come on, Francis, as being a mainstay. I mean, we got good young players back there right now. But they're young, and that youth shows up. But they're going to be a hell of a good players. We started having some, young linebackers in there, but that got obliterated. And we haven't played as many as the young defensive linemen just because we haven't had to. But we think we have outstanding young. We don't just have good ones. We think we have outstanding ones. So there's really good talent level coming back on this defense, and a really good talent level coming back on this offense. I mean, I mentioned the guy Tanner Arkin. We think that he's going to be a special guy. And Gary has really come on, and Brian Palende, and so we have the tight ends. We obviously lose a hell of a player in Trey, right? But we have some good ones, and Ty McCullough is really coming on at wide receiver. And I mentioned G-Rob, but we have other young receivers that we like a lot. Our whole backfield will be back. I mean, our line is going to be a lot improved next year. You'll see. I mean, we grew a lot this year. We're going to grow a lot the next year. Our quarterback is back. I mean, we've got a lot of positive players coming back here. So, I'm excited about all of that.
But what did you like particularly about the way Robert and Jack have really approached the day-to-day, knowing they have to get better because they're going to be asked a lot on game day?
Well, they're just ballers. I mean, those guys make instinctive plays. I mean, some do, some don't. They do, both of them. They love football. They're always – it's never too big for them, right? We have some – we talked about it to our team. I know that you guys – I know you understand this. This is the first full season we've had. You realize that? Right? I mean, we're going into game 9. How was this program done in week 9s and 10s, and what's that been like, and where's the mentality been, and the ability to sustain the grind? And that's what we're trying to – people say, I got to build my culture. We haven't even done that yet here, And some guys are having a hard time keeping pace with that right now. Not those 2 young guys, though. And I told the team yesterday, I said, just to put in perspective, everybody aspires to be in the NFL. Between preseason camp and possibly the playoffs, you might be a third of the way through your season right now. So if that's what you're aspiring to, and you're fatigued after week 8, we got to learn how not to be fatigued. But that comes with that's the program you're building. That's the and sometimes I have to pull myself back and realize that as hard as that is to believe, this program hasn't had a week 8 or a week 9 or a week 10 in this program. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's what does that matter? Oh, it matters. So you got these young guys who have never done it in college, period. And then you got these older guys that have done it, but not in winning fashion. So we've got to tie that all together and learn what that means to go find a way to win late in the season when you're not accustomed to doing that. Okay? And there's a lot to that right now. So we're developing our program, and these young guys, Jack Howell, for example, and Robert Floyd, as an example, are 2 guys where they appear to be able to handle that just fine. Some of these other guys don't handle it so fine. You could just tell. You know what I mean? You could see it. And that's all development. That's all, it's like I use the example with the team, I didn't used to like to run when I was a young player, but, got to go run 2 miles. Like, 2 miles? Oh, my gosh. I can't run 2 miles. I mean, I can remember back in the day, I'm a big guy. I don't run 2 miles. That was like the end of the world to run 2 miles. Seriously. But once you figured out how to do it, it was like, I didn't think I could run 2 miles. I could run 4 miles, But it's all learned behavior. It's all learn how to handle the grind, learn how to psychologically not let something weigh you down when you think you're weighed down, but you're really not weighed down. Because we're all so much more capable of way more than we think we are. But we have to push those limits and learn how to conquer those limits. These are all things that we're involved with right now. How do you, when you're tired, when you're in the grind, when you're physically, mentally tired, how do you handle when you have disappointment? Better figure. I'm saying the obvious. You better figure that out. That'd be a nice trait to learn, not just in football, but in life, as you know and we all know. It doesn't exactly always go the way you want it to go. You get these hard curveballs, and part of our job here in this program is to teach our team life lessons on how to handle the curveballs, and that you don't always get what you want when you want it, and that you got to work hard, but that doesn't guarantee anything. It just puts you in position. You still have to scrap and fight because all those wins every detail is hard about it, So I'm excited about that. I think we have a team that understands, and they want to be there, and we will be there. We're probably just not there yet. And the last couple weeks of the injury thing has really piled on us. I mean, really piled on us. I mean, between the sickness and the injury, it has piled on at a major, major effect, which is poor timing. But it's life. It's I can't control that.
So when you say all those things, does that make this week kind of the ultimate test for you as a coach to see where your team is? Because you talk about the travel, the injuries, being late into a season that they've never been in before. You're going to see how they react.
To be honest with you, I know where our team is. Yeah, I mean, I know where we are. I know what we got to work on. I think I got a little aggravated after the press conference when someone was pushing me down that path a little bit, and I think what I was trying to say was really simply is, I know where we are, I know what we have, and I know where we're going to be. How much do the next 2 weeks dictate that one way or the other? I'm not sure it does, okay? Other than, of course, we want to go win. And I think we have a great opportunity to do that, Things don't rise and fall on a game or two at the end of the year. We're not going to be bowl eligible. So that's not happening. And that's devastating to me and to our players and to our coaches. So we lost that opportunity, okay? Deal with it, all right? The rest of it now, I want to grow and develop. But you grow and develop sometimes winning and losing. I hate to say that, but it's true, okay? So I just want to continue. Our frustration level right now is, as I said earlier, to me, we got better each week, and you could see it. It was tangible. It wasn't always perfect, and it didn't always end in a win, but you liked where you were headed. I haven't liked the last 2 weeks, but I understand why I haven't liked the last 2 weeks, and I can't fix that right now, okay? Now, I like to hope that we can get some people back and we can go back to repiecing. Unfortunately for us, the momentum, which is a huge deal in football, chopped our legs off a little bit in that little 2-week period, which is a pretty critical 2-week period, as you know. It cost us bowl eligibility. And now you're fighting against not being bowl eligible at the end of the season and still trying to do what? Play your best ball? Well, that's not an easy task. To the credit to our players right now, I haven't seen signs of, that being an outward problem. I think they're enjoying football and enjoying getting better and enjoying the grind. Now, not putting your best foot forward the last 2 weeks. Probably not. We're not enjoying that too much, right? But I do like the mentality so far. But what does that mean? Yeah, you still got to have enough players to do what you got to do, and to go on the road. It's not, as we already have stated ad nauseum, it's not an easy task in this particular road, especially if you're really undermanned at the end of the year when you can't get bowl eligible. Those are all real. That's all real stuff you're dealing with. And you know what? We need to deal with it. I said something else the other day, and I believe in that. Okay? We're there. That's where we are. Okay? We got to deal with it. We got to get tougher. We got to learn that. And like anything else, if it means enough to you, it's very motivating, and it drives you, and you want more, and you're pissed off in bad language, and maybe that's not terrible, in the big scheme of things, called being hungry, and it helps fuel the off season. Now, I don't like it. That's not where I thought we'd be, but maybe I also, have to understand where we were, and that's a pretty big valley we had to cover right now, and to me that's a byproduct of a lot of things. One of which is we got great kids and they're working really hard and they're bought in and they get it, but we got to learn how to win. We got to learn how to not let those games get away from us that we had plenty of opportunity to win. We got to go win, We'll get there now because we're going to have the character and the talent and the work ethic to do it. We're building that foundation right now. I'm pretty optimistic about that. So again, sometimes I can get long-winded, but it's my way of answering one of your questions. I don't define things in 1 weeks. I look at them through the entirety of the whole thing. I kind of know where we are, and I kind of know why we are where we are, and what we need to do to fix it. In terms of the tangible 1 week to the next routine, I'd like to see us hopefully have a healthy week, get some players back, and get healthier from being wiped out by the flu, and see if we can have a week worthy of putting yourself in position to go win a major college football game. That has to happen. So that's not crying on your hands. That's just the facts. And I'm optimistic that we're gonna be able to get people back and get going this week, even though we're traveling on Wednesday afternoon. So.
Hey, Steve, you've gotten into some of the challenges of traveling to Hawaii, but also, a 9 p.m. kickoff is obviously pretty unique in itself, too. Do you have to change what you do from a game day operation standpoint? Do you, try and get loose in the afternoon or something? It just seems like a lot of sitting around and waiting to play.
Yeah, you're right, it is. It just is. Good golly, 9 o'clock, I don't know. We have a series of walkthroughs we do during the day, and that's how we handle that. Get up, walkthroughs, get off their feet, come back, probably have a more extended walkthrough again than we normally wouldn't have. What's really daunting about the 9 o'clock start, which is daunting enough, is the fact that there's no way these kids don't have on their mind, oh my God, we're going to be getting on a plane at 1 in the morning Hawaii time, and what time is that back in Colorado? And if you don't think those kids play with that stuff in their head, of course they do. It's human nature. That's not a great formula, but who can control that? I can't control that. I can't control the 9 o'clock start time. I can't control any of that. I could tell you it doesn't come at a worse time. I could tell you that. I'd be lying if I said it. What do you want me to tell you? That's just preposterous, but it is what it is. That's why I said after the game last week, everybody kept saying about this week. Yeah, this week's hard enough. I'm worried about what that does to the following week. The residuals of that are where you feel that. That's why going out and winning the game is so darn important. To try to get some momentum, to gain back some momentum. So, this is a scheduling deal that's less than ideal, and nobody did anybody any favors, I can tell you that.
Thank you.
All right, guys.